President-elect Donald Trump is reportedly considering moving towards privatizing the Department of Veterans Affairs. So-called public-private option would allow veterans to opt out of the VA healthcare system and receive care from private sector hospitals and clinics. Mr. Trump says it's a critical move to fix the VA.
I don't want to see veterans waiting on lines for 2 weeks. We're going to fix it properly, not like it's been done over the past, okay?
Joining me now, Washington Times columnist Charlie Hurt and president of Maslansky and Partners, Lee Carter. Lee, let's start with you because this was a big contentious point, one that was a big difference between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in the election. Hillary said, no way, we're not letting these veterans out of the Veterans Administration, no private care of any kind.
I mean, I think we have to consider that the VA is not effective. It's one of the largest budgets in the government. It has 350,000 employees, and we have vets who are waiting for care, who are dying while they're waiting for care, and it's absolutely unacceptable. Now, there's great things about the VA, and I think that the vets who want to have specialized care, that they can specialize for the vets, they should be able to continue to go if that's what they want. But people who are not getting access to care, I think that they really need to do something. These are our vets. They fought for our freedom, and we should fight for them.
Yeah. Charlie, listen, on my radio show, I talk to veterans around the country, and it's interesting because some of them say, my VA is just fine. I have no problems. I get good service. They're great people. Others, not so much. And it would seem to me that that option would be very valuable to some of them.
Well, that's the beauty of this, Tom, is that it is an option. It's not forcing anybody to do anything. And I got to say that one of the things that I love about Donald Trump taking this approach to this is that he's not coming up with this because he has some sort of ideological opposition to the government being involved in this. He has a problem with the fact that the VA has done a terrible job in many cases with many veterans, and he just wants to shake it up and try something different. And to me, that's a very appealing thing. And I would imagine that even though there are probably a lot of vets out there who are nervous about this and saying, wait a minute, this sort of conservative idea that the private sector does everything better. I understand that they would have real reservations about that, but that's not. This is not an ideological thing. He just wants to do whatever it takes to actually fix a very badly broken system.
Well, this may be a reach analogy, Lee, but it seems to me this is like the charter school versus public school argument. Is to say competition. What about competition? Because even if your VA does a decent job, it'll keep them on their toes to keep the veterans coming back to see them.
I think it's a great analogy, and I think it's also what we're looking at. People are afraid of the single-payer system and the healthcare system. To say that we need to have options to keep things competitive, I think that's the absolute right analogy. And one of the things that Donald Trump does so well is he's very good at creating big picture policies, something that's going to create a debate, give everybody attention. He said the VA needs to be fixed, and so now he's going out there and saying, I'm going to do something extreme about it, and I think that it's causing people to have a debate. He might yet, still compromise in some ways, but I think he's really saying and throwing out there, this needs to be fixed. Our vets deserve better, and I think it's a great, it's a great beginning.
Well, Charlie, this may open up. We haven't heard a lot of the details about Obamacare and the fix that's going to be made. There's still a lot of work to be done on that, but could this lead to a public option sort of thing for everybody to say, you want to be in the government program? Okay. Or you want to go out and buy your own insurance in the marketplace?
I think absolutely. And that's why, and I've said this from the beginning, if you're a rock-ribbed conservative, you're not going to like everything Donald Trump does. And if you're a liberal, you're not going to like everything Donald Trump does. Everybody's going to have to sort of, accept some things that they don't like in the compromises that he makes. But I think that your analogy to the charter schools is an excellent one because, there's nothing that the government hates and bureaucrats hate more than competition. But the funny thing happens when you have competition. Students, or in this case, patients, almost always wind up far better served if the people that are taking care of them or the people who are teaching them have to compete and prove that they are, that they're providing the best service possible.
Yeah. Lee, just before, during the break, before we came back on camera, you said something about, oh my gosh, the president in the last going out, what a mess. And I said to you, I said, but the world is already a mess. It just seems messier right now.
It seems to be getting really, the last 2 days, what John Kerry did about talking about Israel, and then today, the Russian sanctions, we're getting into this place where things are getting messier and messier with only 20 days left of Obama's administration. And I think it's leaving Donald Trump in a really, really difficult situation. But I know with Israel, it looks like they're going to be pleased with Donald Trump coming in, and who knows what's going to happen now with Russia.
Well, a lot of people, Charlie, were saying, what is Donald Trump going to do next, or what's he going to say next? But it's now getting to the point where what's Barack Obama going to do next?
Well, and Lee is exactly right. You know, it's getting worse and worse. But I have to say that I cannot think of a more fitting end to an 8-year presidency that has been an absolute disaster, a rotting disaster on the global stage over the past 8 years, than to have them having these temper tantrums, these screaming fits, and all of it is for naught. None of it amounts to anything. Donald Trump will be able to reverse just about all of it, but they're just having their temper tantrums, screaming because they are not getting their way. And I think it's a perfect ending to 8 years of just disaster. It's
an old rule I learned in business. You know, when somebody goes out the door, they're going to remember the last things you did. And I think for a long time, this will be. He's kind of creating his own legacy. But hey, Charlie Hurt, Lee Carter, thank you both very much.
Great to be here.
You bet.